In this lesson, we'll use a daylight system to do a sunlight simulation. Now, this is a very helpful architectural tool when you want to see exactly what your building is doing in terms of the sun that it is blocking, or in terms of how the context around is busy blocking the sun towards the site. So we're going to set up a daylight system, and we're going to see exactly what happens at different times of the day when the sun is shining. So to get started, all we need to do is go to our Create menu, go down to Systems, and then select Daylight System. Then all you do is select the point where you want your compass to be located. So we can put that compass just to the side, and we can basically then drag out a sun from that object. Now don't worry if it's too big or too small. We're going to adjust all of those figures at the moment. So first of all, if you click on your compass, you can change the size of it. If it's too big on your screen, you can just adjust it for yourself. Then on the sun element itself, let's go ahead and choose what properties that sun is going to have. We're going to choose a V-Ray sun. We're not going to worry about an environment map right now. We're not really creating very photoreal images here. We're just creating a study for the different sun and shade locations. So then in terms of the skylight, you can just choose a plain skylight there. And the most important thing that we're going to do is set up the position of the actual sun. So first of all, let's get a location for our site. So on that, we're going to choose Europe, and then we're going to select Paris because that's where the site is located. And next we're going to adjust the direction of the north arrow. Now here we have 25 degrees west of north. So we need to type in that figure as a positive figure because we can't go into the negative. So it's going to be 335. And that means our north arrow is pointing 25 degrees to the west of north. So next thing you can do, if your scale is not big enough, you can go and increase the orbital scale, and that'll just basically pull out your sun object and make it a little bit larger. So I'm going to move this into the middle of the site. Doesn't really matter where it is, but it's going to give us a clear idea when we look at this in 3D as to what the sun is doing at different times of the day. So if I just zoom out here, I can have a look at the sun object, and I can start to animate the different times of day. So first thing you would set up is the time of the year. So you could set up the month, the day, the year, and then you can go through your different hours, and you can also choose whether you would like a daylight system or not, or daylight saving within that system calculation. So just before you do any renders for yourself, remember to turn off all your lighting that you have in your scene so that the only lighting that you have is coming from your actual sun. So we're going to take this light object that we had earlier. This was our sort of secondary lighting, and we're now going to go through all of the lights and we're going to turn them off. So here, one of the tips is just go down to your selection filters, choose lights, and then when your light has been selected, just right click and just click on that little arrow, that little tick, so that you can basically unselect it or turn the light off. Remember as well that you have your V-Ray light element so that you can turn off. But if we go and use an override material, then we don't have to worry about that V-Ray light material. That will be taken care of. So now that everything has been prepared, we can go to one of our camera views and we can choose to see what it's going to look like. So I'm going to pause the video quickly and we'll have a look at the first simulation, which is going to be at exactly 5 o'clock on the 21st of June. So I'm going to now go back into my camera view, and let's go and do that calculation. So there's our first render, and the only thing we're trying to extract out of this is just to get a nice deep dark shadow of where our sun is landing. So you can create an animation out of this if you like. You can basically animate your sun on a timeline. You can set it to be at every hour and then create one render and then basically put a timestamp on it and show various positions where the sun is at its highest or lowest position. So if I just do another sun setting quickly, we can look at what it will look like in the morning. So let's go to our sun object. We can go to the setup and let's just decrease the time and have a look at 8 o'clock in the morning. So one of the other things I had to do to the sun object is I had to just drop down the intensity multiplier. Because of how our cameras are set up, we need to drop it down to 0.02 to get the results that we were looking at. So I'm going to look in that same camera view now, and let's just pause the video and have a look at the result of this sun calculation. And here again is our result. And you can see that all of these renders are really quick. So you can go and do a whole series of these in a very short amount of time, and they're going to give an amazing amount of information and reality to your project, because you will be able to very realistically go and project where your building is going to be efficient at different times of the day. So that brings me to the end of this lesson. It was quite a short lesson, just showing you a very simple tool that is very powerful in what it represents and what it shows within your building and within your project. So definitely something to use, something to add to your project, and it can definitely give a nice boost of realism to have that bit of extra added info. So in the next lesson, what I'm going to do is another one of my favorite tools, which is to basically cut the building in half and have a look at a section in 3D and create a render basically with the building sliced in half. So we're going to look at that in the next lesson. It's another very factual way of representing your building at this concept stage, and it's another one of my favorites. So we're going to have a look at that in the next lesson.